Hey guys, e-bikes are awesome, but when you've got these really big ones, sometimes you wonder how to get them around in a way that's safe. I wanted to do this video just to teach you some of the tips and tricks that I've learned. This is my dad's RV. And, you know, he goes off-road sometimes in these cool locations. So he's got these wheels down here, kind of the wheelie bar. And then he's actually got that hitch riser that gives you that better clearance. So that means it's even higher. And when you're trying to put one of these bikes on, they can be 60 plus pounds. So one of the first steps is to remove the battery pack and either empty your bag or remove the bag. These Iberia are pretty cool. They're a lot like the Toe Peak ones where you've got a button here and you can just take it off very quickly, very easily. Think about some of the other accessories that might be mounted on the bike, like these fenders. Sometimes you can remove lights and stuff. So an important consideration is what bike rack you're using. This is the Thule T2 Pro XTR, and it's got these really wide baskets that are going to fit fat tires. Again, heavier bikes. We've got suspension. There's a lot to think about, and that includes the fenders and some of the other accessories that might be mounted on the bike. So, you know, it's great if you've got a friend here and they can grab the front, you can grab the rear, and you can set it up nicely, but that's not always the case. A lot of times I'm working solo. So I wanted to show you some of the techniques that I use. And the first thing I do is actually, kind of undo the ratchet straps like this so that once you're lifting the bike, you're not struggling to mount it into the rack. So a lot of these will have a little clasp at the back and it's opened up wide like that. Then you flip this forward on this particular rack. A lot of times you've got something like this that grabs the front tire. Sometimes, like with the Thule Easy Fold, you've got this middle hook thing, and you want to think about, like, does that even work with your bike? If you've got a step-through bike like this, you might need a crossbar adapter. Well, if you've got a high step like this, it's going to work just fine. It's going to grab the frame right there. I happen to know that this bike rack is going to work great with these Rad Rovers. Okay, so we've got the first bike on. You always want to start with the bike that's closest to the car. If you're only carrying one bike, definitely put it closer to the car, and that's going to reduce the leverage. Getting that first bike in, I kind of stair-stepped it where you put the front tire on here and then the rear tire using the same technique I'm about to show you, and then sort of stair-stepped into the closer spot. So now that bike's on, they always go kind of reverse of each other so the handlebars don't collide. So I'm locking that right brake lever, kind of pop a wheelie, try to get that front tire in the basket. There we go. So now it's fairly secure. We're just stabilizing it in that front basket. Lift that rear tire in, and we're pretty much set. Slide that rear ratchet placement in just a second. So we got the front tires fairly secure. This basket, it's not quite where we want it. So I'll kind of lift it like that, slide it a little bit, and I can pull the strap out. Put it, maybe reposition the wheel a little bit so we're not pulling on our spokes. You really don't want to pull on the spokes because it can put the wheel out of true. And then over time, then your wheel needs to be tuned up. And then the last thing to mention is locking out the brakes, because there's a lot of weight on these bikes in particular, and if they're flexing like this, that rear cup can kind of slide back and forth, and it can create issues with the bike rack. So we'll go ahead and lock that out and double check everything, make sure the other one is locked. Kind of tighten things down a little bit, but that's about it. That's how you can do this solo with a little bit of elbow grease. Good luck.